Hello, this is Iron Savage, and I'm going to explain to you a simple build, but not a retardedly simple build as turn tier where you just stand in the spot. But it's not. But also at the same time, it could be complicated, but not as complicated as static discharge engineer. It's going to be an HGH build, like gas HGH, but it's still good considering might is still might, and with pretty much an HGH build that runs all elixirs. No kits, no nothing. Pretty much you're not even, it's almost as if you're not even playing as engineer. It's all elixir. And let me explain to you the traits first, and then I'll explain to you the trinkets and all that good stuff. First, let's start with HGH, the mama of the build. Pretty much HGH, every time you drink an elixir, you gain might. Alright, that's good. That's good, because look, all the elixirs we have, we're going to be giving ourselves so much might. It could... In some cases, it'll go up to a 20 stack. It usually goes up to 20 stacks of might constantly if you drink all of them at the same time. With then the passive will be energy conversion matrix, and that's pretty good considering that we have Elixir B, which gives us a whole bunch of boons just to increase our power by 1%. That's still about 5% increase in just raw in power and damage. Yeah, raw damage. Potent elixir, increase the elixir duration. Like, oh wait, why not cleansing formula? Well, the thing is, I'll explain to you later. Based on the trinkets and stuff, you're not gonna survive. You don't have that much survivability, anyways. So if you get deep, so pretty much you get condi down, it's not gonna matter if you remove a condi one at a time with the elixirs. And if you increase the duration, it also increases the duration of Elixir X and duration U and Elixir S, and all the boons get increased too. So now we have 46 seconds of might just from Elixir B. And this one passive, self-explanatory, just turn conditions to boons. And then we have fast acting elixirs, and that's pretty good because that decreases the heal skill to 20 seconds. Yeah, 20 seconds may not be seen as par as healing turn, but 20 seconds is pretty good compared to other healing skills. And Elixir H synergizes with HGH, and Elixir H is going to be more important as I go up. For firearms, we're going to be using hair trigger, and hair trigger is pretty much reduce the recharge on rifle, and pretty much that's your base, that's your primary weapon. Hip shot doesn't matter. 8 seconds on net, so pretty much every 8 seconds you go at a net shot. Blunderbuss, this is a very good skill, considering that you're going to get ferocity. And Blunderbuss, I've seen it hit 4K at close range. Overcharge shot, pretty much knock them back, 12 seconds. So every 12 seconds you have a, what you call pushback, which cures you, immobilize, cripples, and chills. You have jump shot, and this is a very heavy damage based attack. I've seen 8,000 damage done through it. So hair trigger is very important. Now, acidic elixir, you have elixirs all over. You're pretty much running all elixirs, and if you toss them, they remove a boon. So someone's running around with stability or some other nasty boon on them, just strip it with one of the elixirs. Like, oh, landmine. Well, there's only one landmine, and you have 3 elixirs that could strip it. And they cause vulnerability. Reserve mine, this is pretty handy, very handy, because when you get that damage, you get that minefield around you, and you can push them into it, and the mines do some decent damage. I have downed people by pushing them into my own mines. Hands performance, this is where synergy happens. Pretty much, heal skill, 2 might. Plus 3, every time you get a heal, you get a 5 stack of might. 5 stack of might every time you use heal skill. Now explosions cause vulnerability. That goes with the elixirs because they count as explosions. And now sympathetic overload. Every time you knock back or launch a foe, you gain quickness, and that's pretty good because it could synergize with overcharge shot. Bam! You knock them down. And you gain quickness, so you're just going pew pew pew, pew-pewing them down with a good stack of might. And knockdowns are very, very important in this build. Now then, into the amulet. The amulet will be Rune of the Fighter. Because it's number 6, every time you use a heal skill, you gain a 3 stack of might. So already you get 3 stacks from Enhanced Performance, 2 stacks from HGH. Now you get 3 from the rune. So every time you heal, you gain an 8 stack of might. And that's pretty powerful. So every 20 seconds you'll be getting a guaranteed 8 stack of might when you heal. Now then, and the toughness is it's good. Toughness is good. So you won't be a complete tissue. Now then, Berserker Amulet. This is a power based build already because of HGH. But Berserker also has precision, which gives us a crit chance of about 40%. And if you synergize that with Elixir B, crit chance is about 60%. 60%. So you have 60% crit chance with ferocity. That's a good deal. Now then, and with some vitality so that you won't be complete tissue. Now then, you have Sigil of Fire and Sigil of Rage. Sigil of Fire because you have a base attack, and because you're doing since you're getting quickness from the base attack, you go and get a crit, and when you do a crit, it does a flame blast. It burns them, an AoE flame burn every 5 seconds. And Sigil of Rage because every time on a critical you gain quickness too, so you'd be shooting faster if you get a critical, increasing damage output. Now to explain why these elixirs. Elixir H because it just synergizes so well with HGH, and it has only a 20-second cooldown. Elixir B because it gives you a bunch of boons. It gives you fury and might with retaliation, swiftness, and swiftness is very important because you lack swiftness in this build, and that's a con. You lack swiftness. Now then, Elixir U. A lot of people are like, oh no, Elixir U, switch that out with a kit or something. No. Elixir U is a very powerful skill because it gives you quickness. And in PvP, you know, we're smashing each other's brains out. So if you could spike them faster, you have one less person to worry about. And it's a break stun. You have quickness. And Elixir U synergizes with Elixir S because Elixir S you shrink and you evade attacks. You can't get hurt pretty much for a few seconds. Because you can't get hurt for a few seconds, the frenzy and haste won't matter because you could pretty much pick someone up really fast because quickness increases action. So imagine your friend gets knocked down, you come over, use Elixir U with Elixir X. You're pretty much getting them up with haste, and they can't knock you out and they can't knock you about because you're using Elixir S. So you're getting them up pretty darn fast. Toss Elixir H, I just use it from boon stripping or just to buff myself to get myself one of those random boons, but might is always guaranteed. Now then, Toss Elixir B, a very powerful skill because it gives you stability and 6 seconds of it. With this stability, you could spike someone, and they can't knock you around like a ping ball. And every time you throw it on top of yourself, you gain 2 stacks of might. Pretty good. And for 26 seconds, that's pretty dandy. And now then, and you could use it for speed stomps. Or do what I just did earlier. Throw it on yourself, knock them back. You don't suffer from your own knockback. You just knock them down and just pew them to death. Now then, Toss Elixir U. This skill, I have been called hackers saying that I shouldn't be able to use this skill, but people don't use this skill. It has a long cooldown, but it's a very beneficial skill because look what it does. It drops a smoke field or a wall reflection, and pretty much the wall reflection, you could just stand behind it while you're being, you could be in a corner or you could be trying to hold a point, and the wall reflection be knocking back projectiles. You could jump into it, gain retail, jump into it, gain stealth, and it's pretty much very defensive very defensive skill. And in the heat, and pretty much it's good. It's a good skill, especially against some pew pew rangers. Now toss Elixir X. This one makes you invisible, because this is very supportive skill. Because if your friend is about to get stomped, you just stealth them. If you stealth them, they can't get stomped because they can't see them. So you pretty much just save them from the stomp. And like I said, you could help them. You get over them, pop Elixir U with Elixir S, and speed res them up. Now then, Elixir X, and pretty much the big daddy of this build. Pretty much, if in the beginning of a match, where you go into a team fight or defending or so, just chug all your elixirs. But usually chug Elixir U because it gives you quickness, so you can chug all the other ones faster. Chug Elixir U. Don't drink Elixir X because that will turn you into a dwarf. Drink with Elixir X, which from the haste, pretty much from all them, you could pretty much have a stack of 20 might with quickness and stability in Elixir X Juggernaut form. You're going to be thrashing enemies around, ping-ponging them. As for example, as you can see, it already does high damage. It has lots of control. You have CCs. You have constant flow of quickness, and you're just dealing heavy dish damage. You use dash. Pretty much the combination is kick, you knock them away, you use dash into them, and if they're trying to away, throw a boulder or jump on top of them, which is a CC. And all these damages are all CC based. And imagine the horrors of them, because one, you have 20 stack of might, you have quickness, you have stability, and you have ferocity on you, and you're pretty much just smashing their face in. But the downside is Elixir X is either this or a tornado, and tornado really doesn't synergize well with the build, but it's pretty handy when it comes to heals and, well, pretty much knockbacks and stuff. And if you don't like tornado, just break the form and just go around blasting around with the 25 stack of might. And pretty much in this build, you could take, pretty much this build is very supportive. It's a very supportive build in healing and stomping people. Pretty much just cleaning up the mess. You could hold a point, but if you get outnumbered, you know, you will lose. You will lose unless you become God mode in this build and going against a bunch of horrible players. And pretty much you can't, it's really hard fighting against people that have like lots of crazy stuff, you know, necromancers and mesmers, because you only attack one person at a time unless you could like get the right target and do piercing shots, but it really doesn't help. And they could condi you down pretty fast because you don't have that many condi clears. But the great side is you're not a tissue, but yet you're hitting hard with 20 stacks of might. And the build is pretty simple to learn because you're not worrying about kits or any other stuff. You're just using 1 through 5, and 1 through 5 is pretty much just being supported by all the other skills. And Elixir X, that takes on its own form, and you could just rewatch my brief explanation of it. And pretty much this is the Elixir HGH build by Savage. And if you have any other questions, please write them in the comment. And don't knock it until you try it, literally. Yeah, the build might look weird, but don't knock it until you try it. And you'll see that it's a very beneficial build. So goodbye guys, and thanks for watching.